Hi, my name is Gareth, and in this Brewing Basics video we're going to take a look at the Aeropress. I bought my first Aeropress back in 2005, and when I was putting this video together it made me realise that it's the only piece of brewing kit I've owned that spanned the whole of my coffee evolution. When I first bought it I wasn't really a keen enthusiast. When it came to coffee, I wanted something quite simple I could carry around with me to brew coffee wherever and whenever I wanted. And the Aeropress really fitted the bill. Lightweight, robust, compact, and really simple to use. It stayed around for the past 15 years, and it still is one of my favourite brewing methods. The principle of the Aeropress is really simple. You have a black filter holder at the bottom that holds a filter paper. This locks onto the main brewing chamber, and it's in the brewing chamber that you're going to mix the water and the coffee. And then we have a plunger which allows us to force the water through the coffee bed at air pressure. I think the main strength of the Aeropress is its versatility. It can make many different styles of coffee using different grind settings, and there are different methods you can follow. There are now World Aeropress Championships that are held annually, such as the coffee industry embrace this brewing method, and you can get apps for your phone that detail a multitude of recipes for you to follow. It can also be off-putting. Because there are so many different ways of brewing coffee, it can sometimes become a bit overwhelming. So the aim of this video is to talk you through a couple of methods that you might like to try to get you started if you're thinking or have just bought an Aeropress. I'm going to begin with the basic recipe that's in the manufacturer's instructions. It's designed to produce a strong or intense coffee, and it's ideal for watering down with some hot water or maybe some hot milk. It uses a very fine grind setting, and it uses a 1:1 coffee to water ratio. The brew time is really short because the grind setting is so fine. You just need a real short brew time. So you can get a coffee going in about a minute. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is assemble the Aeropress ready to make a coffee. So the filter paper goes into the filter holder, and then this locks on to the bottom of the main brew chamber like that. You can then brew directly into a cup. The kind of grind you want is as fine as possible, really. If you go a little bit too coarse, the water you're going to put in will pass straight through the coffee bed, straight through the filter, and there really won't be enough time to pick up any flavour. So this method is designed for very fine ground coffee. So when it comes to brew ratios for your kind of standard Aeropress recipe, the one that we're going to look at today, you'll see them in the instructions talk about a 1:1 ratio. And what that means is it's 1 scoop or 1 measure of coffee to 1 measure of water on the scale. And that actually equates to, if you're interested in kind of the precision of that and want to use scales, so you're about 15 grams of coffee in a scoop. And each of these measures here equates to about 60 grams of water. So the actual recipe we're following is 15 grams of coffee to 60 grams of water. So the coffee goes straight in, and it's really useful. It comes with a little funnel, and you can use this funnel to make sure that when you put your coffee in, the grounds go straight in and don't scatter all over the place. Because the top of this Aeropress is actually quite narrow. Once the coffee's in, we can go straight in with our water. I tend to try and pour straight into the middle of the Aeropress, away from the edges, so I don't kind of create any gaps between the coffee and the side of the chamber. It's then really important that you stir the coffee and go for about a 10-second stir. Again, they provide you with a really helpful little stirring device, which reaches right the way down to the bottom of that brew chamber. And then it's simply a case of plunging. And you start with a downward pressure. Now don't try to be a Superman here. Just go for a nice, steady pressure. And that column of air you've got below the plunger is going to push down and it's going to force the water through the coffee bed, and you'll see it coming out into your cup. So keep plunging, keep going until you hear kind of a hissing noise, which is now the end of the water passing through and the air just starting to pass through the coffee bed. And stop when you hear the hissing noise. There's no need to continue all the way down until that plunger reaches the coffee. So that's the standard method for brewing an Aeropress. And from start to finish probably takes around about a minute in total. Now there are alternative ways, and in the next video I've got coming out, we're going to look at one of the other methods of brewing an Aeropress that's going to produce a filter style coffee. In the meantime, if you've got any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. And it'd be really, really cool if you could like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.